Sunday! Every Sunday, side by side at the microphone, from the green light to the speed trap, Ray Garino and Joe D calls them as they sees them, and you better believe them. Here's relevant news, biased opinion, and outright nonsense regarding every aspect of automotive culture. Gasp! It's mechanical trickery never before broadcast over FCC-regulated airwaves. Thrill to the explosive tension as Ray and Joe cuss each other down track, barrel roll across the finish line, laughing at certain disaster as they shake hands with the devil. All that and so much more at high noon this Sunday on the Motormouth Radio Hour. Call in and speak live with the Wizards of Speed and the Live Feed, Ray Garino and Joe D. Bring the whole family. Kids under 12 get in free. Every Sunday at noon on WHBC. Take the Hempstead Turnpike to the Meadowbrook Parkway and look for the no parking on the expressway and no express service on the Parkway sign. Go right on Highway 24 to Garden City. $2 all-day parking includes pit pass. There!
All right, you know what you got going on now. It's a little rusty, maybe.
Yeah, I got the PB Blaster right here.
Little Rusty Cage, that's our Motormouth Radio tribute to Chris Cornell.
Yeah.
I was going to play this last week, and that would have been kind of eerie.
Yeah, extremely.
But I didn't, so that's our music
found
today
out
is
about
in,
that stuff first thing in the morning. I need that before I have my coffee.
Right.
Jeez, that sucks, man.
in his memory from Soundgarden. But this is Ray Guarino, his wingman, co-host, and Cugino Mio, Joe D, to my right. And with us today on Motormouth Radio, we have two great guests.
We got a couple guys who wandered in there. Who are these guys here?
Jack and Ryan. Fellas, how are you?
Good.
We're doing all right.
All righty. And I will preface this before we get into what you did by saying you can give us a call if you want to talk with these guys at 516-572-7440. And you can get in live on what we're talking about. Jack, you are the guy.
I am the guy.
Who made a video. Well, why don't you tell us what you did, and then we'll just fill in the blanks from there.
So AAA has this national contest where you have to make a distracted driving PSA. And I entered last year, and I came in second, which was pretty good. But then this year, I entered. It was like a thing I did with my video class, and I got grand prize. You know.
Now, you're a Huntington High School student. You're a senior, right?
Yep.
So you'll be graduating, hopefully. Right, because the finals aren't yet, but
No,
they will.
we're good.
We're good.
Okay, and you participated in the contest last year as well.
Yes.
How did you place then, and what was the deal with last year?
So yeah, last year, I came in second. It was like point something of a point. I came in second, and you know, first prize there was like a cash prize, and then second place it was nothing. So I was pretty pissed. But
wow,
I came out this year.
You got to see what the presentation was that won first place.
Yeah, and it was not great.
Oh,
the first place was really not great. I was pretty mad.
But I guess what you did is you took that away and you thought for this year you probably kicked it into gear already and said, hey, next year I think I can do better.
Yeah,
and you came up with what you did. So what you did was you made a video because you're a graphics design student, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm planning on majoring in college. But I take graphic design and video classes in high school. So
excellent. So you did make a video. Explain to us, because I have the Newsday piece here. Joe, you saw the piece?
Yeah, you emailed me that at one point. Yeah, tell us about this.
Looks like something out of Brooklyn, like a mob movie in the bottom there with a certain person taped up and thrown in the trunk of a car.
I was going to say they're doing a Goodfellas tribute here.
Yeah.
All right, which one of you has the shovel? Tell us how that all.
Yeah, so the video was called Extremes, and it was supposed to basically just show you how easy it is to drive without distractions by showing the extremes. So, like, one of my friends, actually Ryan that's here with me, it was like he was putting on, like, 15 different seatbelts, and he was, like, all strapped in trying to drive, and then it was, you know, and it's supposed to be basically, it's just one seatbelt, you know?
Right.
It's an easy thing. And then one of my other friends, was taped up in the trunk, and it was like basically just tell your passengers to quiet down and stuff like that. It's not that hard of a thing. You don't have to go to extremes to drive safe.
Right. Now there are commercials like that on TV. I think Geico has them and whatever. And they
there's quite a few of them there. There's public safety announcements that.
And some of them are the shock and awe version where they're really kind of graphic.
That's the typical. That's what I was trying to avoid. That's
okay.
A lot of the entries in this contest and a lot of just PSAs in general are really sad.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to do something different, and it was more fun too. I got to tie my friends up. So,
well, there's a perk right there.
Why do I get the feeling that's not new for Ryan? I got a feeling he's kind of been there before. Ryan looks like the guy that I knew in high school who was always up for like whatever.
Yeah,
it's like,
that's spot on.
Yeah, dude, let's
spot
go.
on.
Really?
Yeah. Hey, you need someone like that in the crew.
I see it in your eyes. I can see it in your eyes. Don't blush. It's okay. We've all been there before. You're
Every squad needs one. Let's face it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I might be that guy.
Nailed it.
Well, and that's great because you had instant support, somebody who was, buying on the project. It didn't take a lot to convince him, I'm sure.
Made him famous.
It was a lot of fun doing it. We had a really good time hanging out with my friends and doing this project.
How long did it take before you had your final edit? Did it, how many?
It wasn't long. It was, it was more of the planning because, the biggest thing with it was the story, I guess.
Okay.
So it was maybe like a week.
Now, we didn't get to see the video. How long is the whole thing?
It's a minute.
It's
a minute
1
long.
minute.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know, we've done some film work and we've done a lot of pre-production stuff, so I know it can take like an hour or more of playing around to get a good minute.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a challenge in itself.
Sure.
Can people see the video anywhere? Is there any site that people can go to find it and look at this thing?
Yes, you can. If you just look up my name, Jack Glicker, and then type in PSA on YouTube,
okay,
it'll come up. There's a couple. It should be the first one though.
Fair
okay,
that's good.
Yeah, or could they use extremes?
Yeah, PSA
Okay.
Extremes. If you type in extremes, it'll be
Okay.
that one.
Okay. What were some of the other things that people did in the do you get to see what the other entrants?
Yeah, what were you up
I
against?
I didn't see this year, but the one that won last year was like there was flowers on a curb and there was someone crying and it was just there was a couple like facts about car crashes and stuff. It wasn't really.
Yeah, well, that hits
really
it hits the
standard,
heartstrings and.
That's more like for us parents.
I was just
then
going to say
we go and we hide the keys. You're not going out.
those videos hit the parents a lot harder than they hit the
Right,
kids. Because
and
I know
then-
if I saw that when I was 17 or 18, I would have changed the channel.
Yeah. Well, I was about to say, I think that was a good idea because I think kids would definitely not want to see all the sad stuff.
Yeah, I wanted something funny. It's like those dog commercials with the.
With the Subaru, you mean? Yeah, with the
Oh,
dogs.
those are great. Those are my favorite. I love those with the dogs driving
Oh
down the
yeah,
street.
no. I was talking about the sad dog commercials. I always change the channel on those.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
like the
Where it's like-
ASPCA.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, please, yeah. I know.
I can't watch them either.
I want to go out and buy a truck and come home with all of them, and then the only thing is that I won't have a home because they'll be taking my spot.
You live in a truck.
Yeah, right. Me and the dogs.
Yeah, there you go. There was one a couple of years ago that hit, and I have two daughters. One wasn't driving at the time, only one, the other one was, and I had her watch it, and it did hit home because it was a girl in a car, and she was driving, a young driver, and she got a text, and she was texting, and the commercial went to slow motion. And it was one of those where, the car, I think she avoided something in the beginning, and then the car did get hit. And it was a succession of these texts going off and checking them like a lot of people do. And it, just showed how, hey, you know what? 3 out of 4 were okay. The fourth one, you weren't looking, and bang, you got broadside. It was very graphic.
Yeah.
But it did, I felt it drove the point home of like, that's how it happens.
Yeah.
All it takes is a split second, that's for sure.
You almost have to be out of it to really see, because when you're in the minute, things just happen. You're doing other things.
Way
it's
too quick.
It's just one of those things where, unless something happens to someone close to you, like people usually don't think of it as a big deal. But when you watch PSAs and stuff like that, it's supposed to get you to feel that.
Or it's like I told my kids, and now my older one found this out for herself. I said, you don't understand what it's like to be in an accident until you've been in an accident.
Exactly.
And then you're like, oh my God, I don't want to do that again.
It's not fun. It looks cool from the outside in some cases.
Yeah.
But as a rule, it is not fun.
Nope.
And bruises, busted, whatever.
And luckily, it was just about a little over a year ago. My daughter was in an accident. She had been driving for a number of years and totaled her car. And she walked out okay. She was unscathed, not a scratch, thank God. But it rang her bell. I mean, when the airbags went off, she was like, it's only a split second. I told her it's like, how many milliseconds does it take for an airbag, Joe?
Oh, yeah. It's somewhere around 5 milliseconds from start to finish, so.
But like what happens to many of us, and it's happened to me, the event went into slow motion for her. And she felt like she saw that airbag for half an hour.
Right.
I was like, yeah, you went slow motion. I said, I still don't know how that happens.
There's some type of physiological response, I guess, to make you react faster. But in the meantime, I don't think evolution ever thought about airbags hitting you in the face. That's not something to think. Well, that was like the time a couple of years back I was on the Grand Central and that Saab tried to come through my passenger door.
Right.
And I'm sitting there spinning across the Grand Central. That was always fun.
Yeah.
That probably lasted about maybe 10 seconds.
It was the same day I hydrolocked the engine in my Mazda. We did it the same morning. We both
bad day.
It was a bad thing.
That's awful.
But now what she did from driving a low, swoopy car that she always hated because of visibility, she went to an SUV, a small SUV, a RAV4. So she took away from that, hey, I want to be above the traffic. I don't want to be low. I want to be, that was her next buy-in for safety. And, like I said, luckily she was able to make that decision and move with it. So,
Well, actually, they did a study not that long, fairly recently. Actually, it was in Australia, where they took like a 98, like a Camry or a Corolla, and they crashed it against a current model year. And the new one actually held up better. Everybody thinks also because of the crash protections, whatever, definitely came out a lot. There's been in the last let's call it 20 years. There's been big advances in safety.
Yeah.
Which you got to think about. Although some people are like, it's okay, I got airbags, I got anti-lock brakes. Let's go drive off a cliff. No.
Right. A few years ago, the video came out. It made the rounds. It was a 59 Chevy and a 2009 Impala. They were both Impalas.
Yeah.
And the idea was they were going to do like a 3/4 nose impact, and you said, like, which one is going to come out ahead? And all of us said, the 59 is going to run through. No, the 2009 crumpled, but the occupants stayed safe. The people in the 59 would have died.
Wow. Yeah. For sure, there's no padding, no crumple zones. Right. A lot of the stuff we take for granted that they've had for the last, say, 20 years didn't exist back in the 50s. They were lucky they gave you, some padding on the steering wheel. That's about it.
And even that, they were plastic. I'm driving a 65 Pontiac today. The dashboard is steel.
Yes.
The column does not collapse. Yeah. It's got a lap belt only.
Mm-hmm.
It's by today's standards, it's a rolling death trap. Only if you hit something.
Exactly.
Otherwise, it's a lot of fun. I learned something from watching Graveyard Cars with Mark Warman. He restores, I don't know if you've ever seen his show. He's on Velocity. He restores nothing but Chryslers, E-bodies and B-bodies.
Yeah, from the muscle car era, Challengers, Roadrunners,
and
Coronets.
He showed how in 70, the Cuda, he opened the hood and showed, look at these, the way the metal is bent under the hood. He goes, see, there's no seams here, or here. The next year, in 71, Chrysler said this had to be changed. In 70, that hood was solid. And if it had a frontal impact, it would shove back and could go through the windshield. In 71, they put in these little crumple zones in the hood, which I didn't know about in 71, which would let the hood buckle in case of an impact. So Chrysler was I guess, in Volvo
Chrysler was
territory.
pretty advanced with their engineering for back in the day. They like that too. That's like when they came out with front wheel drive. Certain car companies, you got hit hard enough in the nose, the engine came into the passenger compartment in your lap. Other cars, I think Nissan or Toyota I'm pretty sure it was Nissan. The engine would drop down. If you hit it the right way, the engine would just fall rather than coming in to visit you in the passenger compartment. Yeah, they did.
In all forms, even in drag racing. You guys have seen drag racing on TV, right?
Yeah.
The pro stuff. The top fuel rails. They went to the rear engine because it was a lot safer to have a fiery mess behind the driver instead of in front of him. And then if you watch, you can watch any archival footage, or even today, if a driver has an impact or fatal, not fatal to the car issue on the track, those rails, the body breaks apart, and the engine and the rear wheels will go one way, and the rest of the body goes another way. They made it designed to just break apart and just go away from the driver. So again, even in pro racing, they've done stuff that's revolutionary, all to save that, to save the driver.
But the best way is to never get into the accident in the first place.
Absolutely.
And stuff like you're doing there that you did is a good way. It's a good start. You know what I mean? Because let's face it, you see too many heads down while driving, and too many of them are young heads.
Oh, yeah.
So it's it's sad. You know what I mean? I mean, when you're younger, you reflex.